like getting to coach at ASU, a place where in a state you know well?
Honestly, it's somewhat of a dream come true, to be honest. I always grew up wanting to come here. Obviously, that wasn't my path, but everything that I've done up to this point in baseball has prepared me for it. And honestly, I'm excited for the opportunity to be around a good group of guys, a great staff, and make this what we all remember it being.
What's your what would you say is like your main focus from Willie's staff? And I guess in year one, things that you really want to push the program forward with and get that.
Yeah, obviously, I want to use my experience and the tools and resources that we have here. We have one of the only pitching labs on the West Coast, if not the only pitching lab. We're going to use that thing a ton. My last 3 years with the Brewers has taught me that player development is a huge piece of this, and especially for this group of young athletes and this age group is very vulnerable, and it's probably the biggest time in their careers to make the most steps forward. And that's my job is to make sure that this happens, and we treat them all individually and attack what comes our way, but also surround ourselves with some core philosophies and some overall goals and see where it takes us.
What's the balance with the pitching lab and all it can do, but not that you obviously don't want your pitchers to think, but not to overthink it. Just letting the game come to them, but having those analytics for you as a coach. Like, what's that happy medium balance?
Exactly. I think it depends on the mound session, right? And that's what we do as coaches is understand when exactly to put stuff in front of them, when to take a step back, when to go over the rubber, when to go over the plate, when to attack, confidence. All that stuff is kind of the beauty of what we've been through and being part of this staff, that we can relate to every situation. And that's how trust is built, and understanding and feel. Feel is something in baseball that gets talked about a lot, especially in the professional realm. And understanding when to deliver a message, understanding when to deliver a message by asking a question is all very, very valuable tools that we need to have in our belt to use on these kids individually. Obviously, they're dealing with a lot. Some of them are moving away from home, and they got school, and they got outside stuff going on, and we need to understand that and be able to relate and be able to deliver what we need to when we need to deliver it, so it impacts them.
What were some of the questions that you had when you were considering this position and whether or not it was going to be the right fit for you?
Obviously, the resources were a big thing, and that's the beauty of this program is we have all the resources, and we're going to make them better, and we're going to use the hell out of them and make sure that we are getting guys better. That's one of our best recruiting tools, is having that lab right in our backyard. Now, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it and say that I'm a biomechanist, because I'm not. But my history in the game has provided me with the ability to ask questions and surround myself with good people that I can trust and feel vulnerable enough to say, hey, I don't know the answer to this. Can we sit down and try to knock it out together? That's kind of one of my strong suits, is knowing that I don't know everything, right? I'm always willing to learn and always willing to listen. And that's what's going to resonate with players. I can sit there and bark orders all the time, but they're going to be half in, half out. If we make it their idea and our idea, and we all come together, that's when we create a culture of growth and have the process of getting better. And ultimately, our goal and everybody else's goal on the staff and in this entire university is to win baseball games, right? We want to play late into the summer and create memories for life with these guys, and create, honestly, friendships and relationships that go beyond just this.
I know it's a big organization, but did you talk to Pat Murphy at all about coming to ASU and what his experiences were here?
Absolutely. So I grew up around the Murphy era, and damn it, I wasn't good enough to play here then. But what I've done in this game so far has prepared me for this. Obviously, there's a lot of incredible people that have been through this place. That's why it's one of the best baseball organizations in college baseball. So obviously, I've picked his brain. He's picked my brain. I bet he was vetting me from when I first showed up into Milwaukee and when I was playing against him when I was a player. So obviously, like, it's an incredible opportunity, incredible situation to be a part of, and honestly, like, my family and myself, like, this wasn't just me making this decision, right? Like, it goes to my wife, it goes to my kids, and ultimately, like, we are extremely happy that we get to rally around something bigger than us. I think it's a beautiful thing in sports. That's why we have sports. That's why we're all here and you guys have your jobs. There's some beautiful things that happen in this game and in this realm that I want my kids to be a part of. I want my kids sitting there and I mean, I've already spent a fortune just going to the bookstore and going to Shields and buying all the gear that my kids deserve and need. So,
what were some of the things Murphy kind of said to you about this place that made you stick out in this conversation?
well, honestly, he told me how passionate Willie is about the program. Obviously, Willie had a great career, and we played against each other and have always surrounded ourselves with the same group of people, very like-minded people with growth mindsets, and he just. When I was talking about taking this job, and it wasn't something that I took lightly, right? Like, I'm leaving professional baseball and a good career there, but this is the right step for me. And he made that certain when I got to pick his brain, and it wasn't during the season. It was in the past, letting him know that this has always kind of been something that I would like to do, and I think that I'd be good at it. But, I've leveraged his advice with hundreds of other people's advice when I did this, because when I do something, I'm not here to as a stepping stone to something different and something better. Like, I'm here and I want to be here for the next foreseeable future, if not till the end of what I do in baseball.
In 2 of the last 3 seasons, ASU has really struggled on the mound. They've had some depth issues at times. What is your early impression on how to change course to correct that with that ASU on track?
Exactly. We have some great arms. Honestly, they've done an amazing job of stacking our team with the ability to win baseball games. Now it's about leveraging my expertise with Sam's expertise, with Jaffe's expertise, running things off of Ellie, because sometimes hitters see a different thing, and leveraging all these things to create something great, right? Like, we already have the base. All tall mountains have wide bases. Now we got to see how high we can get it, right? And that's our job. Obviously, we want to build confidence. Confidence is the thing, especially in this ballpark, that can get away from us, right? We got to create leverage counts. There's some things and philosophies that we are going to absolutely engrave into our minds, but at the end of the day, like, we have to deal with situations that present themselves individually as well. Well, from what I've learned in this game, sometimes a kid needs a hug. Sometimes a kid needs a kick in his ass. Sometimes a kid needs a little bit of love, but some hard love. And all these things are different. And every kid's different. I mean, anybody that's a parent would tell you that as well. But, we're going to leverage all of our expertises. I'm going to have to lean on other people. They're going to have to lean on me sometimes. Obviously, I've been in pro ball on the pitching side, where tools and development are first and foremost. Now, we have the tools and development. Everything that we had in pro ball, we have here, which is an absolute weapon that we need to utilize. And I think that's why Willie brought me in and brought in Ellie and made the adjustments to the staff that felt like he needed to do. Because now we are actually all united with one end goal in mind, and that's just to win baseball games, right? Make this program something great, make it something that people are constantly looking, I want to go there, right? And get it away from the East Coast.
To the development part, too, so obviously spring training, a little bit over a month. I mean, obviously it's pro level, I get it, but guys are coming in, but to kind of have this fall, you coming in, how big is that kind of extra time? Not that everything has to be fast forward, but players can start getting used to you, and just when you get to have them in the fall, how big is that for you just coming in?
I think it's huge. I think having this big of a runway, and especially some guys coming from places where they didn't get a whole lot of attention, is a tool and a weapon that we need to utilize, right? And it's not something that necessarily needs to be fixed immediately. Like, hey, we need to understand the process here. This isn't, you don't make a mechanical adjustment, it doesn't happen in one day. You may see little bits, but we need to slowly pick away at that, because at the end of the day, the games that matter are in the spring, right? So we need to trust that process and understand, like, hey, we got to get better. It's going to take some time, but I need you to trust what I'm doing, and I need to trust what you're doing, right? Like, there's other aspects of this. I mean, especially like bridging the gap between pitching and the weight room, making sure that what we get out of our lab is directly affecting their programs that are individualized in the weight room. Whether it's mobility stuff that we utilize with our training staff, with Jesse, like, all these things come into play, and that's kind of what I bring to this org. Is I ask a lot of questions, and I lean on people's expertises. I don't think that I can do it all on my own, because you can't. That's why staffs are as big as they are now, and that's why everything that's coming out of baseball leans and trends towards that.
What are some of the differences in developing a college arm versus a minor league arm versus a pro?
Honestly, everybody at this level has the same amount of hunger. They all have the same end goals, and being able to leverage what they want to get out of the game with what they need to do and the process that it's going to take is going to be one of the most important things. Obviously, we're dealing in pro ball with a lot of very, very good athletes, and especially at the higher levels like I was at the last 5-6 years, is these guys are super close. But that's the beauty of where I came from, is I was with the Mets that had a lot of the money and we had the talent. And then I was with the Brewers where we had to squeeze as much talent as we could to win baseball games. So honestly, like the path that I took and the journey I had through baseball, I wouldn't trade for anything. And it's an incredible tool that I have and stuff to pull from. Obviously, like making analogies and doing that sort of thing is very key. And when you can use names that these guys watch on TV, it's something special to them. And when guys that we know from pro ball need a place to work out or do something like that, or like, hey, this guy had the same issue. It's not that big of a deal. We can fix it. We can get it better. Let's just trust what we need to do. Let's find out if you're moving correctly and everything that goes into pitching that sometimes gets overlooked, right? Like, we love throwing a baseball off a mound, but there's still 2 other hours in the day where you can get better and progress and maximize your abilities.
One of the realities of college sports now is a player may not be at one place to be developed on the same coaching staff for 2-3 years. What are your thoughts on entering that kind of a landscape and, I guess, navigating some of those things?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm not sure if you refer to like the portal and people leaving.
Portal.
Exactly. So that's pro ball, is constantly people being plucked from you and given to you. At the end of the day, and I've heard that a lot, like, how are we going to develop them and keep them? Well, in my brain, the way that it thinks is you keep them by, one, building incredible relationships, understanding that they get the attention that they need. That's why Willie built his staff the way he did. I don't know any other staffs that have this much attention towards the pitching side of the ball. And three, we can't control that at the end of the day, right? If we create a culture where they know they're getting better and they know they're getting attention, these kids talk. They talk to each other. And that's our job as coaches, is to create the best environment with the most growth. So instead of trying to keep players, we have to turn them away. That is the ultimate goal in my brain. And the way that I think about it is finding a way to make sure that this is something special that people want to be a part of, which they already do. It's historic what has been done here on these baseball fields that they've played on. So it's our goal. And I mean, honestly, there's nobody that cares more than Willie. And I'm just happy to be a part of it, to be honest.